Oh, okay, now we're live. It's
There you
going on for
go.
a little while. Hey, hey.
Hey, yo, hey, what you? Mental
Oh,
Health Monday.
it's Mental Health Monday.
We're giving you two official notices right there of what the day is.
If you don't know, now you know. Or you should.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
should. And
It's the
if
start of a week, so
if you don't
yeah,
know, it's almost the start of a brand new year for
a
Chase
brand new
Shep.
year. Look at this, like 1 year. Oh my god!
Hey, oh my God! This is amazing,
Oh my
S-
god!
amazing. An entire year.
Ma, we made it.
Ma, we did it. We
We
did it,
did it,
Ma.
ma.
364 days since our first episode as of
Yeah.
today. Tomorrow will be our 1 year anniversary. Uh, it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm proud of both of us for sticking to it this whole time. There
Yeah,
have
keeping it going.
definitely been moments where I think we've both just been like, "Whew,
No, yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot
Yeah, I
extra
mean,
on the plate."
yeah.
But we persevered, and we're here a year later,
That was
stronger
one of
than
the
ever.
and that was one of the milestones too, originally, when we started this. I think that was one of the things we kept saying to each other was like, "We'll just
Mhm.
get to that 25 slays too," and then, like,
Yep.
if we're that stressed, we're like, "Fuck it," we can say, "Fuck
Mhm.
it," you know? "Hey, whoop, whoop." I
Yep.
forgot I forgot to switch back to the comment side.
Yeah. Yep. And here we are a year later, and I don't think either of us really want to throw in the towel yet. We're still feeling it. I think I won't speak for you, but I'm getting excited for next year. I think next year will
Oh,
be
yeah.
even better. I think doing the 25 Slays Part 2 has kind of got me back in the groove a little bit, back in the swing of things, if you will.
Feeling like
Um,
that day one again?
I do kind of feel that excitement, and even though it's like a very small thing to just like add video clips and little flourishes here and there, like it's very big from what we did 364 days ago when we started doing this, sitting in recliners, with our fucking like just things flashing up on screen. I may have still been editing on an iPhone at that time, I don't know. But
Yeah, I think movie posters was in the scores
mhm,
was
yeah, pretty
about
much
as
it.
flashy as it got until the
Yeah.
sleighs.
But no, I'm very excited, and big shout out to everybody who's been watching the Mental Health Mondays and the Slays. It's exciting. Like I watch people on YouTube who have like thousands of views as their regular like 24 hours, and then like our 24 hours is now like 20, 30, like 40, and that gets me hyped as hell because it used to be like three.
Yeah.
It was three for the longest time, but we've just kind of watched it creep up, and it's like it's not a very fast process, but the growth is there. Like it's very clear. We've seen it, and it's exciting. it's
No, it
been
is
it's
good.
been
A
real.
and there's a lot of, like, like I've said here on Mental Health Monday, I believe, listening today's It's Always Sunny podcast that came out. It was funny because it was where they wrapped up their, uh, first year
Hmm.
of, their first season, and they were talking about how, like, they premiered that first episode, and they kinda just they said, "Nobody gave a shit, nobody watched it," and they got to the end of that first season, and they're like, "Well, listen, guys, like, not a lot of people watch this show at all."
Yeah.
But they were like, "But you gotta look in, and you gotta look at those weird aspects of things to where, like, those guys harnessed on the fact that they're like, but the people that, like, on their debut episode, they, like,
Hmm.
say, like, 170 people across the nation tuned in and watched it. Well, they stayed till the end of it, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
They kept it through so that, even there, they knew they had something on their hands, even though they didn't know how big it would grow, but they've
Hmm.
grown it from the ground up. Of course, they added some celebrity pizzazz. You never know what'll happen
Right.
at
Right.
Chase
Who's
Shep.
who's our
You never
Danny
know.
DeVito? Let's get
Yeah.
Bruce. Let's get Bruce Campbell.
I would love that if he had the time of, work that into his fine schedule. I
Bruce
would
can
love it.
be our Danny DeVito.
I mean, that's literally what they said happened was their,
It's
at
always
that.
sunny. It's always sunny in Villa Grove. It's perfect. Have
Yeah,
Bruce be a regular at the bar. It's perfect.
there you go. There you go, man. We got money on our hands just sitting here, just waiting to be printed. But yeah,
maybe,
no,
maybe,
one
maybe by like year five or so.
as I say, 1 year is a big deal. Never thought we would have as much content in that year as we did. tackle as many goals
Hmm.
as we wanted to and put out there all these weird, because a lot of it was just me and you getting together and being like, fuck it, dude, let's do this.
Yeah, let's get weird.
Whatever. Um, it is always sunny in Villa Grove, Bell. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. You just staying around the right people. Who someone pissing your cereal this morning?
Woo, okay. Anyways.
That's an inside joke. That's an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen. The few that
hell,
get it.
hell of a good one.
What do the kids say these days? If you know, you know. But a lot of that on the show has been that, we a year ago after we did 25 slaves, we were like, yo, a lot of people ain't really, guy wise talking mental health and talking,
Yeah.
that fucked up shit, and we don't need to start it already. We'll leave it out there then. We'll leave it where it was. But a lot of guys ain't talking mental health. A lot of guys ain't, talking their past toxicity and shit like that
Hmm.
even. And to sit here a year later, that's the one thing we've been fairly
Hmm.
consistent about. I'd say there's probably at least 40 to
Yeah, I was gonna say
50,
we've done somewhere
at least
between
40 to
35 and
50.
40 uh
Yeah.
episodes of Mental Health Monday specifically. And I was telling somebody the other day, it's definitely our favorite segment.
Mhm.
I think it's our favorite segment, but it's also other people's favorite segment too. Um, and we definitely feel the void, like when we're not doing Mental Health Monday. I feel like we definitely feel it in our lives. So it really helps to just be able to get that mind right every week, to set aside that time and just get shit out there. I'm somebody who likes to talk about my shit. So
Well,
like it's
get it
always
out
been nice
there
to.
in a very positive way too,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
not like a toxic way, not like, hitting up just a random fucking, I'm going live tonight on Facebook and I'm just throwing
Right.
it all out there when I'm
Let
in the
me just
middle
get
of
my anger and frustration out on
yeah,
whoever.
breaking
Yeah.
breaking down or whatnot. It's
Yeah.
a very, because there's been times that, I know I've hit you up at times like, yo, we should do a mental health Monday. I got a bunch of shit I need to get off my chest,
Yeah, and
talk
I'm
about
like,
it.
time out.
It's like, yo, yeah, it's like once you get that feel for one another, and it's like, okay, I feel that this is something we should talk about, but just not at the
Mhm.
moment.
And I
Maybe in
feel
a
like we
couple
do a good
weeks.
job of, like, if we ever come to each other with something like that, that's like, oh, ooh, I need to get this off my chest. I need to talk about this. I need a mental health Monday on this. Usually we talk to each other about it and get through the personal side of things, so that by the time we do get to mental health Monday, uh it's I see
I like
it.
it. We got to throw that one in.
Communication. I like that actually. Communication.
Chasing.
That'll be the new name of the podcast. If I ever go solo, if we ever split up the band, welcome to Communication with Chase Todd. Uh, but
TM
we
that
always
TM 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 TM
TM TM Bing.
TM TM TM.
Uh, thank you,
Hey,
thank you,
thanks, Dave.
Dave. Um, where was I going with this? I knew this was going to happen. Uh, Mr.
Um,
Communication. We were talking about communication. Oh, you and I, we usually talk through stuff before we get to Mental Health Monday.
oh yeah.
We diffuse it, we depersonalize it, and then by the time we get to Mental Health Monday, we can talk about it in a more, is it objective way? It's objective, right? When it's like we can remove ourselves from the situation and just look at the lessons. We're not coming from such a personal place
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, this is kind of what happened to us. This is how we've processed it, and here's the lessons we've learned from it. And that's usually how I feel like we do approach topics when it comes to Mental Health
Oh
Monday
yeah.
and
Some of
our
them, yeah. Oh yeah.
personal
Some of
stories. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like we talk about ourselves too much, but that's kind of the whole thing. Like, that's always what we're here to do on Mental Health Monday, is just kind of, okay, what's
oh, I mean,
happened to us recently? Okay, how do
and we've
we?
always thrown out there like people could chime in and
Mhm,
say anything they want. We'll try to talk about it if it's something we personally had to deal with. But
yeah.
yeah, some of those mental health Mondays, yeah, they've gotten we've already been on this subject talking to one another for an hour, and now we're
Mhm,
going live to talk another hour. So you've
yeah.
already gotten that I guess shit talking off your chest that you normally would keep in your head and not
Mhm.
like want to say about people publicly. So you don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
get on here and you're just like, okay, we've processed it and this is how. Let's go. But yeah, Mental Health Monday has been one of my most favorites. One of my most
Definitely.
favorites. It's always nice to get the week started off right, uh, and on the right track. And sometimes you derail, sometimes you fall off, but then, it's like it's almost like the circular thing. It's like you gotta use it something to kinda ground yourself, man.
Mhm. Yeah,
Definitely,
yeah.
this is the space we're creating to ground yourself before the rest of the week. Some weeks we've had have been roughy, some have been smooth, some
Yeah.
have been real good,
Yeah.
but but that's the way she goes,
Mhm.
and, I already forget what I told you we should talk about tonight, but,
Well, getting into the swing of things.
that's it, that's it. Well, I
Getting
know
getting
I was trying to
It's
get
okay, you're
there.
rusty. You're rusty,
I
you're
was
just getting
I was
back into
trying
the
to
swing of things,
I was
so
trying to swing into that,
also, it's the year of the spider, so this feels like an appropriate way to end off the year of the spider, is getting back into the swing of things. Thwip, thwip.
yeah,
But,
yeah, and that's about to drop. Very, very much of a hype train going
very
over on this
soon.
side.
But, yeah, I mean, getting back into the swing of anything. I mean, right now we're getting back into the swing of, well, a lot of shit, Mental Health Monday, like you said, we've even when we take a break, I mean, we stay pretty consistent with Mental Health Monday, um, but, we pretty much took all of November off, and to come back after taking that much time off, just kind of not doing anything, has definitely been a little weird to jump back
That's
into it, and then to jump back into something that we haven't done for a year, which is this 25 Slays of Christmas thing, which is, it's similar to things we've done, but it's, we're getting back around to that. But then I think it can apply to a lot of other things as well. Like, I know for me, like dating, I feel like I haven't really dated in like a couple of years. And so, like, I feel very rusty at that, but I'm wanting to get back into the swing of things.
Get back out there.
Get
You'll
back out
never
there.
you'll never get it if you don't get out there to take it, I guess,
Mhm.
I mean, that's a bad way to put it, I feel like, but,
That was a terrible way to put it. No, I'm just kidding.
terrible way to put it, but I am not a dating guru. So do not come to me for any sort of dating advice unless it's like
That's our late night show, Shagging Up with Shep.
I just I feel like I would have good advice because I've been through a lot of shitty situations when
Mhm.
it came to dating, and they one quote that has always stuck with me is, uh, your worst mistake becomes your greatest advice. So maybe I do got a lot of advice on that front, but I am not the one to go to, and I will
Right.
tell people straight up. And every show would start off with that, like,
Pass.
"Hey, I'm not the one to go to for this, so if you're gonna stick around and take this information, that is on you."
That is on you. This doesn't leave the internet.
Nah, I don't mean it, yeah, I don't mean it in the way it came off. I just mean, like, you got people that sit around in their house all day shacking up with Shep. That's a Patreon only. You gotta, yeah, it's a pay-per-view
Yes, yeah,
type of event.
right after Communication.
It's actually, that's a bonus feature on, the Stocking Stuffers DVD.
See, look, the people have spoken. The people have spoken. I think I
Hey,
know
you
one of
know
our
what?
segments.
We got yeah, so we got a new thing coming
Oh,
after the new
we're
year,
gonna get canceled like a motherfucker.
so maybe we'll do Shaq. Hey, like I said, you never know. Like, hey, hit up the Chase and Shep page, send in your love questions, and I'll do my best to answer them for you guys. I
Oh,
got
see,
you.
no, I
I
like
won't.
that. I like that. Send in your questions, please.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Chasing Shep After Dark. We're always after dark. It
yeah.
doesn't matter
I
the
mean,
time of day.
yeah. Chase and Shep after dark can happen at 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m. I'm just
Doesn't even
going up
matter.
by 2. I really didn't mean to start at 4 a.m. when typically it is dark. Uh, but, like, that brings up a good side note, like, we're going off on tangents here. That brings up a good note. What is after dark? Is after dark would typically be what, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning? Dawn, right?
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I feel like this is just making it confusing.
I mean, that's after dark,
I get
because
what you're saying.
I get the terminology though, and I love it. And we could do a Chase and Shep after dark thing, but it would definitely we'd try to be edgy. And I feel like if we force edginess, it
You get
just
a
isn't gonna come
You get Santa Incorporated. That's what you end up
off.
with.
Yeah, you get a disaster on your hands, and we don't really want a disaster over here because we create enough of them as is.
That's true. That's true. And then we got to talk about them on Mental Health Monday.
On Mental Health
Uh,
Mondays. But yeah, no, I got off tangent there, but if enough people send in their questions, we will make that show happen.
yeah.
But yeah, getting back in the swing of things, I just had a week and a half. It's after darkness hits.
No,
What
we're
goes
done
on?
with this. We're done with
Okay.
this.
No, I get it. I was just reading. I was just reading. Takes me a second. Takes me a second. Uh, but yeah, getting back. I just had a week and a half off work. So today started back going to work, and that's always just one of those. I don't know. I feel like my pants were a little tighter. You know what I mean? I feel like my belt. I wasn't as tight on the belt as I was when I left. And it's like I don't feel like I snacked a lot, but I really didn't do anything with the Omnicon, whatever they're calling the new COVID out there, and you know it being. I guess I can't really blame it on the weather because it hasn't been cold. Today was
Yeah.
uncomfortably cold
Today did get pretty chilly.
still.
That's a fact.
But, like, getting back into it, it's like, man, it's rough. There is definitely some I wouldn't call them cobwebs, but just, muck in
No,
my gears, is
I
a good
feel
way
you.
to
I
put it.
went damn near a year and a half without a job that wasn't chasing Shep. So
I dream of that. I dream
I,
of
th-
that.
you know, I dream of it in a different scenario. Like, it was okay, but I feel like it to be on a better side of that coin. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
To be
No, I feel you.
That's why I say I'd rather be retired than unemployed. It's very different. So, but definitely to get back into the swing of things after fuck, you said like a week or so. It's like imagine a year or so, like coming back to a job when it's like for so long basically been working for myself, and to go back to a job where it's like, oh, here are the rules, and I'm just like, I have to get used to like playing the game again, and it's
No, I
just
feel
like
that.
and shit
I
like
feel
that.
that.
So it is getting back into the swing of things of like, I know I can be a good employee, but I also have to like, okay, yes, I get it. These are the
Well,
rules,
no.
like, but
No, I've been there. I've been there because when I was in the military, it's kinda like that. Because when you're under
mhm.
contract, it takes well, and I proved the point is it takes a good fucking up to get booted. So, you know what I'm saying? So if your supervisor was being an asshole and you're like, go fuck off or something, dude. Like, get out of my face.
Mhm.
They could, if they really wanted to, yeah, you could go see the captain and they'd take some monies from you, but he wasn't really gonna, it's not like my job now where if my boss was saying, go do this. And I was like, go fuck yourself. He'd be like, well, you're fired.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And it was just
Yeah,
such a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
different getting back into, you know, just that like having to confine, to do what you had to do, to be busy, to be moving, to be nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It can be a lot. It can be stressful.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm re-entering something that I've just been removed from for a very long time. And I'm definitely just trying to get used to it, yeah, at this point, and I don't mind it. I mean, there are definitely good things to it as far as the work aspect of things go. Uh, there are things that I was looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. So, that's nice, a little motivation there. Uh, but yeah, there's all sorts of shit, This is sometimes you just got to get back into the swing of things.
A
This
lot
is
of it is
all
that,
we have.
man. For me, a lot of it is just jumping back out and doing it.
Mhm.
And all kinds of things over the course of my life. I need to start working out again. Obviously, like I was just mentioning, my pants are getting tighter. I get that it's winter. You're gonna put on a couple lbs. You know what I mean? We all got to stock up because it gets cold. But at some point you got to be like, all right, we gotta get this under control. We gotta stop eating the Reese's
Mhm.
fast breaks and the Snicker bars, and we gotta like that's a lot of it for me is just realizing like, oh man, I'm getting out of control. I'm drinking Red Bulls left and right.
Yeah.
Sugar content is a lot with that kind of stuff. But that's a whole another topic. But yeah, a lot of it is that. But it's just like I said, it's about doing because when you're trying to get back in the swing, even of eating healthy, A lot of it is like cooking. It's getting yourself back on track to like do dishes and prepare more. And a lot of it, because that is my problem. A lot of it is I'm just sitting around here, and it's like, man, I could go in the kitchen and cook a bunch of shit, or I could just run down to the gas station and get a slice of
Right.
pizza.
Yeah.
So much easier just to get that slice of pizza that's already cooked and waiting for you.
Mhm. Oh, I
and
know. I know.
so
Casey's
like get
Casey's pizza is a fucking, like, kryptonite for me, for sure.
God damn, yeah.
I just have
S-
a I have a hard time saying no to, especially, like, the breakfast pizza, like, I have a hard time
And
just
that's
being like,
how
"No,
that's
man."
and that's how personal note, that's how I know time travel's probably not real, because I feel like somebody would bust into the place and be like, "Listen, homie, pizza by the slice is a very good idea at the gas station, but man, is it a terrible, terrible thing for our diets."
Right? We are all dying. We are going extinct because of this fucking pizza. The only people who survive were the smart ones who are like, "Nah, that shit can't possibly be good for you."
And that's one of those things that's like, I heard not too long ago where they're saying like, things that you do are never that impactful if somebody from the future doesn't show up right before you do it and say, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
you fucked everything up right now."
that's
And
funny.
yeah. So it's like, hey, as long as what no nobody from the future shows up, you can at least go, well, that didn't cause mass
Yeah.
extinction, so that wasn't it.
We're sitting here talking about getting back into the swing of things, but I feel like where I've been at lately, like this past week, is just I'm just looking for a new swing set altogether. I'm not necessarily trying to get back to the norm per se. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, but I want it to be like a new swing. You know what I mean? Like I need a new habits, new like just routine in general, like what you were saying with the exercise, with eating better. Recently I feel like everything that happened last week that had me all shook up inside and emotional and shit. Like I feel like a lot of the way I was feeling, I feel like the best metaphor for this to break it down is like, in the fall when the trees are changing, you got the leaves coming down. You always got those few that are fucking clinging on, you know, until some big fucking gust of wind comes and knocks that shit down. And I felt like I was those last remaining leaves, just holding on to that fucking tree, refusing to change. Like all the other leaves fell, and I finally got that last gust of wind that blew me off, and I just like been thinking about a lot of shit lately of just like being on this precipice of change in my life of I feel like I'm at a point where I got to start making decisions, you know uh and just being like, what do I want to do, like who, and it's not even so much like a question to me of like what do I want to do with my life. It's it's like a certainty at this point. It's more like what are you going to do about it to live that life. That's kind of where I'm at now, is like after this whole past year of making the show with you and doing Chase and Shep and just all this stuff, you know uh on a personal level, on a creative level, all of it. It got me to the end of the year now where I'm like, just turning 27. I'm now in the late 20s, and it's just like I'm just looking ahead at life like, yo, I think this is what I want, but I need to start actually moving down those paths. It's
Mhm.
time to stop saying that's what I want. It's time to start going and getting it. You know, that's
That's
just
what
kind
I
of where I'm
am.
at. Yeah, that's what I am. God damn it, and it's definitely how I feel. That's a great way to put it. That's it's not what I want. That's what I am, and that's what I need. That's the life that I'm looking for. Uh, and just kind of still not to do the whole like better sure thing, which is just unhealthy of like, oh well, when I get there things will be better. It's like, no, I worked through all this shit and I've experienced better, and I know that there's still more to come, you know and it's like it's still just going to always be learning. There's still always going to be a challenge somewhere,
Mhm.
like we were talking about last year, facing your fantasies. uh
Last week.
that was last week. It was fucking
Last year. Like we were talking about last year. Those jokes, you know what? I'm just
Mhm.
gonna let you guys know I work in retail and I know those fucking jokes are on their way. I'll see you next year. I'll see you
Mhm.
next
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
I ain't seen you since last year, so I'm just getting out of the way. Can we just not come at me with that this year? Or we're gonna have a whole mental health Monday about that specific subject.
See you never again. Fucking
There
we'll
is
shut
no
the show
next
down.
year.
There
It's
is no next year.
2021. Part 2.
Right.
That and please, again, I know I stated this, I don't believe the episode is dropped yet. I stated this in one of our, Slay videos, but I'd also like to stay over here on this is my new campaign that I'm going on. Please do not name your New Year's album "I Don't Know About You, but I'm Feeling 2022" because it is predictable. I am calling it right now. It is predictable. So let's not do that, okay? Let's be
Just
better.
don't do it.
Let's
Be
be
better.
better.
Yeah.
And that's not to
Better.
shame or shade T Swift, okay? T Swift, she's cool. But I'm just saying, it's predictable.
She can post it.
She could do that.
She can post it.
She could do that, make a video. She could make a song about it. She could do whatever she wants with that because that is her thing. But it's just like, you know, I
I don't
saw
know
enough
about you.
people do it when they turn 22. That is like, I know that all the people that were over 22 are
Yeah.
like, this is my time. And it's not our time, okay? Because I was over 22 also when the song came out. But I am not gonna name an album that on Facebook
So,
or
I
a
mean,
picture
based off of
and
everything I just
or
said,
my party or my event.
everything I've been feeling about this past year and the year to come, I don't know about you, Shep, but I'm feeling 2022.
I
I
feel
feel
that,
like
but I can just already see corporate America they're just thriving. I bet
oh
Taylor
yeah.
Swift is probably
Oh,
just bank
somebody's
account is going
some
ham.
corporate dude, his dick
They're gonna
hard
do that
right now.
unless tomorrow we get a little phone call or email where they're like, "We're gonna have Chase and Sheps. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 2022 live event." In which case, I will sell out.
Completely sell out. Be posting memes about it every single day.
This episode will disappear if that happens.
Yeah. Strike this shit from the internet.
Bell, that's fine. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? And I know people did it, Bell, and that's why I'm calling it now. I'm calling it out now. The Slay will drop where I realize I had the realization of this that people were probably going to do this, and I'm like, let me get this out here right now beforehand because we are weeks out from the new year. Let's just let's just not let's just not
Oh shit.
or do it to spite me. You know what I'm saying? But just know that I'm going to comment and say I called it. Um, just like there's a few things that I feel like I can call. We're off the rails here. Mental Health
We
Monday. We
totally
are
went off
off
the
the
rails.
rails. I feel like sheesh was one of those things. I was saying sheesh, and the next thing I know, they're like, "No, that's a TikTok thing," and I'm like, "What do you mean that's a TikTok thing?" And they're like, "No, sheesh," and I was like, "Okay,
Mhm.
no, that's dope, but like, that's not at
It's not the
all
same.
no, and it's like if you would like to see, I mean, we can go when it became a trend. There's websites for this now that like the track like trends and stuff. And when this became like a peak trend these days, and you could see my receipt on a T-shirt that says "sheesh" that I bought before that. Not to sound like a hipster, but to sound like a hipster.
You know, with it being our 1 year and all, I did get a little bit of feedback the other day from my mother about the
Mhm.
show in our 1 year of doing this, and she said you needed to let Shep know that he really has come a long way because he just sat there so quietly the
I
first
did.
like
I did.
few months of this, and now he just talks up a storm. It's
I
like
do, but it's only because like I'm comfortable talking with you. Get a guest on here,
mhm.
and I will shut the fuck up again.
Right.
Watch, I will shut up and I'll be like, I don't want to. I just don't want to come on too strong or say something too dumb because that does happen. I do say a lot of dumb things when I start to talk. And the one thing, since this is like a 1 year, this can be like we're just going over past memories of the show. But the one thing that still sticks out to me is when we had the ever baller Maurice on the show, and I said the comment about talking to kids on the internet that was like not at all trying to sound bad, but totally came across sounding so fucking bad. I was like, God damn it.
I
And
think it only sounded that way because us, your friends, just started teasing you about it. We were just like, you know what this sounds like, right? And you're just like, shit. I
yeah, and it was
don't think you ever.
afterwards.
Nobody would have ever noticed shit had we never pointed it out to you.
It
So
did, but it's like, yeah, I was just excited in the moment. I didn't really explain that one out too well
that's so fucking funny.
about how it was like depressed,
Right, helping
thing.
children
Yeah,
and
things set
mental
up
health.
for that, not like I was just combing the internet for teens. That was not at
Just
all.
talking to kids on the internet.
I'm
Fucking
just over here talking to the kids in the internet. Don't mind me.
don't mind me.
Nah, not like that at all. But
Any-
yeah, no,
Anyways,
it's
if we
been
would hop back on the rails here,
it's been a fun year. It has been a fun year. I'm really excited to get in the swing of year 2.
mhm,
I feel like year 2's, and a lot of the things I've liked the year 2's have really been where things have really been, like, ramped up and kicked up, and I'm feeling that when it's coming into doing shit, like, yeah, like, we did a lot of shit in this first year, threw a lot of shit at the wall, as you said, um, and it's like, "Man, so where do we go on this year 2?" You know?
mhm.
What's next?
What's next?
A lot of people ask me what's next, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm asking the same questions, fam.
I almost posted on Snapchat the other day. A lot of people asked me, "Are you working on anything?" And it was going to be a picture of like just like not even my idea list of things that I'd had before, but just the shit I've come up with in the hiatus we took. Like just in November alone, I had like 5 or 6 different ideas for things. And that's not to include all the Chase and Shep stuff we've already come up with and all that other shit. And it's like I could just post a list of like what's next. It's like take your fucking pick, like what are you trying to fund?
Yes.
But
Don't make us put the donation button up.
please don't do that. Just do it.
Don't
Just
make us
donate.
get our don't make us get all wiki links on you or Wikipedia on you and
Right.
just be like, "Hey,
Hey,
it take
we love
10."
bringing you this information, but like if you could just throw I'd like a penny at your
Like a
boy,
dollar.
like $1,
Nah,
it
we
really
love
all
it
that shit
because
adds up.
the best you can do is what you're doing right now, Playboy, and that's just join in. Join
Mhm,
in the conversation and the fun and
yep,
make the void here on the rock of Earth a little bit more
yep.
chill and cool. That's what
Well,
we're
and
trying to do.
like we said earlier, specifically with Mental Health Monday, of course, a lot of our live shows, we want it to be a communal thing. But Mental Health Monday specifically, when we started out, has always meant to be an open discussion. We want people to bring stuff up, give us topics to talk about, anything that's on your mind. It's not just about getting our minds right; it's about getting your minds right as well. And
Mhm.
that's what we always wanted was just to have a dialogue with people. Open up the discussion boards. Obviously, I think Shep and I both have the sense to not talk on things that we have no business talking on. If we feel like we aren't the representatives for a certain conversation, we'll be like, no thanks, we're not going to talk on that.
Yeah,
But
no, like, I'm dumb as fuck, but, like, that doesn't mean that we couldn't try to find somebody that is smart on that conversation and have them here on the show to
yeah,
talk about that and get us learned because, I mean, I'm not opposed to getting learned
hmm
ever,
I always love
and
learning.
learning and growing and improving, and there's a lot of shit, and I feel like we kinda were doing that earlier,
hmm
with the season 2. We did have a lot of people on that were opening up pretty good conversations that we're having community-wise
hmm
and shit like that, that were like, we're not as hands-on as these people are. So like to get these people's thoughts and opinions and hear their struggles and their successes
hmm
through it was great. I think
yeah.
those, again, it's been a great year.
And I'm excited to, I'm sure we'll have a string of guests again here soon. I know we're trying to get at least two of our favorite people here at the show, Christine Mariello, to return, and who was our very first Mental Health Monday guest,
Mhm.
almost a year ago now. Um,
Yep,
who
you 2 sat down and had a dope ass conversation. I like
yeah,
that
we
one.
sure
That was
did.
a
And then
really
I
good
was
one.
over on her page as well, and that was one of those things. Honestly, to me, like Christine does very different work than we do.
Oh,
Like Christine's a very different person than we are. But I love talking to Christine. I love having her on the show. I love getting her side of things. But also, I'm inspired by Christine because if it wasn't for her, I feel like she kind of kickstarted Mental Health Monday in a way because she just had a YouTube page. That's all there was. She had this YouTube page and she was talking about her story about having, pseudo seizures, psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, and I've got that as well, and I'm trying to find information on it. I can't find anything anywhere, but then I find Christine's YouTube channel, and I finally find somebody who is speaking my language, who understands what I'm going through. And that meant the world to me. I mean, that helps me so much. And so, obviously as a film fan, that's always been a thing for me, is like I want to be able to put art out into the world that can at least make people feel better, or give them something to, like, either whether it's just for entertainment purposes, whether it's to be seen, whether it's to be, just to feel what other people are feeling. So when we started doing Mental Health Monday, I definitely, no matter how slow things get, no matter if we've got 5 people watching us or 50 people watching us or 500 people watching us, like, it's one of those things. See how humble I am. We're not gonna we're not gonna bust 500, but
I would love it. I would
I'd shit
probably,
bricks if we had 500 people
yeah, if I looked up and seen
regularly.
that little eyeball hit the
Fi-
fucking 20, I'd be like, "Wait a second, what's going
right?
on?
Yeah,
What's going
they
on
they
here?"
they see us, but like even if it's just one person, like, there's somebody out there who we're helping. And with Mental Health Monday specifically, like all year, that's one of my favorite things is, and probably one of the things that's thrown the fuel on the Chase and Shep fire to keep us going, is those people who have personally reached out and been like, "Yo, I love Mental Health Monday. I love that you do this, and I always listen to it. And when we stop doing it, we've always gotten people hitting us up like, "Hey, yo, where's Mental Health Monday?" Um, and so, I love that. That's what Christine did for me. That's what I wanted to do for other people, and I feel like we've been doing that. So, like I said, even if we never do get more viewers in on this, it's nice to know that we are at least helping some people out.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
we're helping ourselves at the same time, so
Mhm.
that's always important as well, man, like, because that's
Yeah,
the message you're pushing, so that's the message, you gotta do, and there's been times that it's helped me over the past year,
definitely.
like,
Same.
even just, like, off of it, or whatnot, it's just like, I don't know, dealing with other people, it's just like it gets you thinking, and it gets you vibing to where you be thinking like, "Man, I can't," I couldn't been back to that old pattern of mine and then go up on stream on Monday and feel comfortable, talking,
Right.
if I'm gonna be a fucking piece of shit out here, like, nah, I'm not
Right.
saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm the personal, personal insults here. But
This is true. We wouldn't even be friends without it. Now we're. That's very
there
true.
you go. There you go.
Very true.
Vibes. Very true. But no, it is just like you're saying. That's always how my music's been and how I've always done my music because at the time that I kind of switched up my style many, many moons ago, there wasn't a lot of, well, there was positivity in a lot of areas of music, but in the hip hop and the people around me, it was just about like chasing money and,
Mhm.
partying and drugs and all this and that. And it was just like, man, it needs a little bit more positivity in this, a little motivation to be like, well, like, yeah, you can do that, or you could not and still succeed in life and still be
Right.
cool. Like, and yeah, like my music was a lot about smoking and chilling and yeah, I got my drinking songs and all that good stuff, but
Right.
it was more, there were little sprinkles here and there at first before we dove like head on into the let me, you know, try to, I guess, teach some lessons. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but try to
Okay.
be more of motivation to say like,
Mhm.
I've failed, but I'm still here doing this. Like I ain't, I'm about to my mid-30s now. You still can catch me on a stage every now and then,
Mhm.
bopping around because I love it, and that's just something I like to do. But at 35, almost, you ain't gonna go on a stage like this is it, man. This is gonna be my big break unless you're really pushing.
Okay.
I feel like you need to be pushing at the moment. I ain't pushing for that.
Yeah.
I'm just doing me and having fun. But it's I've had one person come up to me and been like, "Yo, that song spoke to me that you just did."
Mhm.
And that really helped me. I was scared about doing something, and I felt like everything you were saying up there was like directed at me and shit. And then that makes all that shit worth it. 18 years or so doing music and not really going nowhere with it, or do it just to you know a
Mhm.
circle of people around the Midwest, and then hear something like that, and you're like, damn, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's worth it. Then at least one person, got a message out of it. Shit,
Right.
I'm sure
And
there's
I feel
plenty
like
more than that, but
that's we're all here, aren't we? on earth. It's just like your best life is going to be lived, you know, vibing with other people, being able to help them out, being able to just keep shit positive. Like, like I was with Bell commenting so much tonight. Like we were talking the other day about, like I am divided down the middle, like, because I am a nice guy. I like to keep the peace. I like to live this Zen lifestyle. But there's also this part of me, growing up, I've always been the jokester. I've always been a comedian. I love to fuck around. And so there is that asshole side of me. But I try to make sure that the asshole in me is always coming from a good place as well. Like you can be an asshole, but make sure you're not being an asshole. Like you can, like I think I was talking to somebody the other day about I heard this interview with Eric Andre, and I loved the way he put it. He loves to fuck with people. As if anybody has ever seen his show, like he loves to fuck with people, and he just said when it comes to pranks, when it comes to fucking around with people, he doesn't want to ever do anything that's going to hurt anybody. He's never trying to come from a personal angle. He's never, it's just making people feel uncomfortable, just weirding them out. Just, it's
Yeah,
all
I
done
can see that.
from a good place. Like it's all just, good-hearted fun. Like, is it, if you're on the other side of it, is it annoying? Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Like, yeah, probably, but like he's not coming from a place of I am trying to be a detriment to you and your life. And I definitely think, that's a good place to come from without feeling like in order to be a good person you got to toss your sense of humor out. Like it's like, no, like just, you got to know yourself. Like you got to know your intentions. uh it's like you just got to know you.
I mean, I vibe with that, because, like I said, there was a time doing that, and because I'm a firm believer. I've never really even been in a fist fight with anybody in my life. I've never been in a physical altercation like
Mhm,
that. So there's a lot of me that's like, it takes a lot to get me to, not really vibe with somebody. A lot of it's, disrespect and shit like that, or,
mhm,
anything like that. So there was a time where, I was doing a lot of positive stuff, motivating people, trying to be that positive light. And then me and a kid went back and forth because of a personal situation. And he decided, well, I'm gonna go make a song and diss Johnny Cash on it because
mhm,
I was only speaking facts,
mhm,
from what I had seen in my perception.
mhm.
I wasn't making shit up, but I felt the need to you know, return fire. I was like,
Yeah,
no. And I remember, Black Mage hit me up when I was talking about it, and he's like, nah, you shouldn't do that. That's like, that ain't what you are
mhm.
about and all. But to me it was like, well, no, but he also hit to me that level of disrespect that it's like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
and it's one of those things like, would I do it now in my mid 30s? Nah, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, all right,
No,
whatever, dude. I don't give a shit. But
no,
back
I
then,
saw. Go ahead.
that back then when you're younger, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I,
Shit's a little different too.
I was just gonna say I saw a quote the other day that I feel kind of relates to this. That was talking about, once you master 18 levels of kung fu, you can, cause a lot of harm just by flicking somebody. But once you've mastered all 36 levels, you'll just want to walk away. You'll just know to just walk away from the fight. To know like, hey, I ain't trying to swing at this person. And it's like just because in that same book it said, if you swing at somebody just because they swung at you first, like, it's not necessarily the best move. It's like you can
No,
still,
yeah.
just because you were swung at does not mean you have to swing back.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, I totally agree. And like that whole situation for me was like, yeah, come on, man. A little beefs and rap is fun.
I always
You
talk
know,
about, I've got people in my life who will be, I think we all do. Everybody knows somebody who's just petty as fuck. But like when it comes to pettiness for me, I like long-term pettiness, same as, in a fight, like you can, if you get swung at and you hold back and you don't swing back, like in a way, like you can still win this, just because you're not physically fighting this person, like you can still come out on top of a situation. That's how I feel like, if somebody does you wrong in the moment and you're upset and you immediately react with pettiness, you know, uh you're that situation is just going to escalate. It's just, violence begets violence sort of situation. Whereas the best revenge is love, dog. It's like if you take a step back and you don't, like for me, if somebody does some shit and I think
It
it's
is, it
petty, and
is.
in the moment I could throw it back in their face and be like, oh well, this, that, the other, or I just shut the fuck up and I let it simmer on their end, and then they learn that lesson on their own time and they feel foolish and everything. It's like, okay, well, they still got humiliated, but in a constructive way. You know what
Oh,
I
no.
mean? Like, you still got your, just dessert. Like, you fucking, it's like, congratulations, fucking, you got your
Oh,
revenge,
I've been on that.
but
I've
it's
been on that.
constructive revenge.
That's
Like,
but it is true, and but to me, that is like you were saying, it escalates it because I have been, like petty and had somebody's like, I'm gonna be overly nice, sarcastically, obviously back to this person, and it's like, yeah, you're just gonna upset somebody more when that happens.
exactly. You
If you
swing
just
back,
shut,
the fight's gonna keep going. You
oh
know.
yeah, when you shut it off, yeah, it's the
You don't
best.
you
I
don't
mean,
swing back, you just got this dumbass swinging at you while everybody watches on as you're just like, "I ain't doing this shit with you, bro." Fucking, and you might have those people who will be like, "Oh, you're being a pussy." It's just like, "Nah, man, like, you're being intelligent." Like, there's a thing, you can stand up for yourself, you can fight back in certain scenarios, like, again, a movie that I've absolutely come to adore since I've seen it is the 36 Chambers of Shaolin. Like, it spawned one of the greatest rap groups of our time, and it's just such a motivational movie for me. Like, every time I watch it, I just walk away from it like, damn, like, yeah, I just feel like so motivated towards life and being my best self. Because that's that example of the 36 levels of kung fu. And I always think of the fight at the end where he does show up, he protects people, he does use his martial arts, you know, to a point. But when it comes down to like this guy that they were trying to get revenge on, best line in the whole movie, I fucking love it, is when dude has the chance to kill him, he's like, I can't. I'm a monk, and he just fucking turns his back on that shit. But then there's the other homie who's like, I'm not a monk, and then just like kills him. So it's just like, I love
got
that
that.
moment in the movie. But you just see where this guy comes from of just being like, nah, like, I've done my part, like, I protected the people. I was, I only used my skills like in a time of need that like were absolutely necessary. I'm not just out here trying to throw hands with motherfuckers just because they're being
I've always
disrespectful.
just looked at it as like the most like you're going back evolutions on evolutions of just like, if you're you can get in an altercation with somebody and you're like, all right, buddy, come on, and you pump your chest out. It's just like, man, like to me, I have always just been like, you're going back to like caveman days, like,
Mhm.
all right, no, me beat you down, like I'll
Right,
beat you up and then I win. And it's like, well, I mean, no, not really. Like if you're being a dick to somebody and then you beat them up, I mean, you're still a dick when you walk away. That doesn't change that
right,
fact.
right.
Like it is what it is. Like, okay, so I'm glad like where we're at in 2021, maybe kind of like getting towards that, like not I don't look at that as a macho tendency. Like if somebody is good
Mhm.
at like fighting like that or bar fights or
Right.
something, I don't look at that like, that's a badass, that's a macho, that's a
Yeah,
man.
that's a man right
Like
there. And
I look at it as somebody that's like, damn, you're like when you're conflicted with that emotion, your brain resorts back to where you were as a baby. Like
right,
you just
yeah,
start breaking stuff. And so that's why I don't know, man. Like that stuff never really interested me, but
yeah,
I've never
yeah.
really, I don't know. I never really,
Well, what you just said right there about, the mind reverting back to just kind of being like a baby, like, I think about that not just in a like a physically violent situation, but just like in emotional situations where somebody just like lashes back, like whether that be out of anger or whatever.
oh yeah,
And like, it's very easy to just, like I said, you just want to react back. But it takes a lot more to take that step back and think to yourself, why are they acting this way? Like, what in their life causes them to revert back? And it's like, what did they not know? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're saying with being a kid, like, what did they not know? Like, what did they not learn in their life? It's like they're reacting a certain type of way for a reason. They just are who they are, and you got to accept that in the moment. Whereas if you explode back, you're just going to keep escalating the situation. And you're not benefiting either one of you.
no, man. It's I don't know. I mean, we ain't gonna solve that one. You know what I'm saying?
No, we
Like
ain't here to solve world peace yet,
there ain't no way
but
we'll solve that. But like,
you're
I mean,
you're like 10 or so. Like
But
we might get close.
yeah, I've just always laughed and giggled at it, and, when you see, dudes out getting into it and scrapping, it's just like, "Come on, guys." Like, like, "Come on, bud." You could just 9 times out of 10, there's situations that don't matter. Give it a
Mhm.
year, they won't matter.
Yeah.
Fuck, give it a week, it won't matter most
Give
of
it a
the
week.
time.
Give it a night.
Yeah.
Give it a smoke.
Right. That's why they tell you that. I love it. Pudgy with the good thoughts coming through. I'm sure, man.
Yeah.
They're afflicted with those emotions. They don't really know how to express them well, so they're like, baby
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Exactly.
feel that though. But I feel that though because there's been times where I've let it out, and it's always got me thinking that like on things like maybe there's shit that you didn't really think about in a way or process or grow on from when you were a teenager.
Mhm.
It's not like there's a little clock in your head that just goes off and you wake up one day and you're like, I'm adult. Like
Right.
there's a lot of things you got to realize, and nobody's gonna come out and tell you like, hey, bud, you know you're gonna have to kind of do this now in life,
Yeah.
or figure this
I think
out.
those moments just kinda come, you know, I my cousin, he's told me this story a few times of the moment he knew that, like, he was an adult. Like, the moment where it really was the transition point for him is when, his wife got into, an accident when they were probably in their 20s, I suppose, late 20s, perhaps, early 30s, and, basically, they were at the hospital and they had to decide whether to life flight her to wherever and do, and he said all the adults in the room just turned and looked at me, and that decision was on me. And I was like, oh, because that's my wife. Like, I have to make that decision. Like, and he's like, that's the moment for me where I was like, I am now an adult. And I definitely think there are those moments that you hit where you're just like, oh shit, this is a
Well, yeah,
changing point. This
hopefully
is
not
a
that
Maybe not that hardcore, but, like, those moments where it's like, "Damn, I gotta start making big boy decisions." Like, I am the adult in this scenario, there are no other adults, or there are, but you're the adult in the scenario, and you're like, "Oh, shit," you know? Uh, and it happens, yeah.
Yeah, being a dad's given me that already, so,
I'm sure that'll
I've
do it.
already had to have the talk of, like, oh, breakups and stuff like that. That makes you
Yeah.
teach them life lessons, can be like, "Yeah, we gotta use that common sense, please." Just made my palms sweaty, sheesh.
Sheesh.
Sheesh. But, I don't know, man. Life's a trip. We're all stuck on this rock, whether we like it or not, we're here. Shout outs to all of our parents. Um
Well, that movie I saw earlier today, um that was just part of the reason I loved it so much. Like I said, it's just a very deep, thoughtful movie. Like, and I'm somebody who thinks about that a lot, like how adults treat kids and vice versa. And like that movie really deconstructed a lot of this. But they're interviewing these kids about what they think of the future and all this stuff. And the main kid in the movie never does the interview, but he does like record some stuff near the end, and that's where the title of the film comes from. Come on, come on. And the kid's just recording himself talking, and he's just like, there's no way for us to know the future. There's no way to know what's going to happen next. Like, there are things that we can never even conceive that are just going to come out of nowhere. And when these things come up, you just got to come on, come on, come on, come on. You just got to you just got to do your thing. You just got to go with whatever's thrown at you. And I love that. I love that message because it's very true. You just gotta come on, like when when the shit starts going on, you gotta come on.
sometimes kids make a good point, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Sometimes they
that's
do.
why I really love that movie, is because that, it really was like, no, kids are more thoughtful than we give them credit for. That's something I enjoyed in Black Panther, that like within the society of Wakanda, like elders and children are held in the same regard as far as intelligence and goes. Like, they learn from one another, and I think that's something we need more in our culture, is to accept, like, do children know everything? No, like, they do need adults to guide them, but we need to accept that we can learn from kids just the same as they can learn from us.
Life's a beautiful cycle if you
They got that lower viewpoint, so
choose to look at it that way.
Smaller, fit into smaller places. So they can tell you what's it look like in this air duct, kid? I don't know. Different
Tell me.
perspectives.
You tell me. So
Beautiful.
yeah, 364 days of Chase and Shep.
Well,
Uh, I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have.
been happy to have you here. I feel like this is the
Yeah.
part where I change my cardigan, sweater, and shoes and tell you thanks for being my neighbor. So
If I was on, I'd be on the Mister Rogers episode where he put the clown mask on. Just
won't she be my neighbor? Fucking. Hey, thanks everybody. It's Mental Health Monday. Happy Chepiversary. Thank you. We're not making that a thing.
we're not. That's not.
Stop
That's
stop
not.
trying to make fetch a thing.
Chepiversary is just a weird thing to say because Chep is. I'll always
Chip.
think of. I'll always think of when I was over in. Okay, so here's a little. Here's a little mental health after dark for you. When I was over in Great Britain, 2010, 9-ish, 10, somewhere around there. Whatever. We got into Portsmouth, England. We was there for a little bit because there was a hurricane. So we went out. Me and the boys went out. We're like, let's just get blacked out drunk. So we went out. We got drunk. So then it was the next day, and I was out with a few people, just enjoying my evening. And we were drinking at this bar that was like downstairs. The upstairs, like, and this was a separate place, was a strip club, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm outside smoking and doing my thing. And the door next door opens, and these girls come out with their trench coats on. So it's like, I know they're strippers, and they're like, hey, Chep. And I'm just sitting there smoking, like minding my own business, and they just kept saying it. I look over at them. I'm like, hey, I'm like, are you saying Chep? Like, hey, old Chep, or are you saying Shep? Like,
That's
hey,
fine.
Shep. And they're like, yeah, we're saying Shep, Chep. And I was like, oh man. And they're like, hey. And I was like, I must have got real drunk last night. Damn. Oh, you guys know my name. Shit. But that anytime I hear Chet, that's what I think of. Every time I think of that moment when they're like, "Hey, Chet," I was like, "You sound like old Chep." Like, "Hey, old Chep."
Hey,
Because
old
over in
chap.
England, you never knew over there. People, the way they talked over there was always. I was always just like, "Do you guys?" My question over there was always,
What?
it's like when an
That was your question. What? Come
well,
again?
when an English guy comes to America, I would be like, all the guys, all the girls over there was just like, "Oh my god, his accent." I was like, "Is that the same like Americans over here?" And this whole ass group of girls were like, "No, nah,
No,
not at all." They're like,
no.
"You guys have like
Shit's
a
nasty.
dirty
Right.
slang English," and I was like, okay."
Hey, hey, fuck you. You know.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, how'd I know now?
Right. I feel the same way.
How'd I know now? Oh, man, that's what I'm telling. I'm just trying to push a new segment of ours, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want, you just submit your questions.
Stay tuned for the next part of Mental Health Monday.
Besides Tyler Elbs can submit questions for the new show. And I only say that because Tyler Elbs would know to submit the questions that would make me uncomfortable on the spot.
Right. That's a no. That's a no. Shacking up with Shep.
That one I'm gonna have to make an OnlyFans specifically for, and people are
Community
gonna have to
chasing. I feel
pay
like
to get
community
that one.
chasing is like the kind of thing where like people call in with their problems, and I help them.
We're community
Like,
chasing over here.
hi, a long time listener, first time caller. Uh, Me and my husband, we're really going through it right now. And oh well, have you tried talking to one another? hmm Well, Susie, I think you know. And then right after that, shacking up with Shep.
I think we got some ideas shooting over here, folks.
Okay,
That's what
very
I
good.
think.
Shep, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 2022.
God damn it.
Yeah, fuck yeah! And on that, Mental
God
Health
damn it.
Monday,
Yep.
364 days down, 1 year anniversary tomorrow. We'll catch you later.
We'll see you guys. Peace out. Smooches and deuces. Enjoy your week.